In the 18th century in Central Europe, a black terror swept across the face of the land. The curse of vampirism, which had been a half-forgotten memory for hundreds of years, returned with a fury that struck unholy fear into the hearts of every man, woman, and child. One man dared to make a stand against this evil epidemic. One man dared to hurl a challenge of cold steel against the terror of the undead. He was Captain Kronos, vampire hunter.
It is commonly supposed that a vampire attacks in only one way, by biting the neck and draining the victim of blood. The girls you spoke of, they were not drained of blood, but of youth, of life itself. You see? He's been bitten on the mouth. God's sake, I survived a vampire's bite. But he is not the man you are.
I'm doomed. My soul a never-ending torment.
Kill me! Kill me!
Her life will be yours. Yours. Her youth will pulse through your veins, my darling, replenishing, restoring. Take her.
At your service, sir. To the death. Yes, you bleed, my lord. This is God's blade. Forged for your black heart.
Hey everybody, welcome to 31 Days of Monsters. I'm your host, Graham Nolan, and we are on day 24. And I just want to say, you chose this one. You could have had this. You could have had this. Ute Stensgaard in Lust for a Vampire. But you guys chose Captain Kronos. And I know Dr. Mask is it Dr. Mask? Yeah. No, Man of War. Man of War and I are going to have to throw down on this one because this is not good. And I'll tell you why for a few things. One, it's a plotting mess. It takes forever for anything to happen. Hammer had made this in 1972. It was released in 1974, 2 years later, because they knew what a problem they had. The main actor, Horst Janssen, I think his name is, his German accent was so thick they had to dub him through the whole movie. So that was problematic for them. They had hoped that this was going to be a series of films and do a whole, line of these Captain Kronos things. And it's a great concept. The three things that work for this movie are, it's a great concept. It's got Carolyn Monroe in her only nude scene. And it's got Wanda Ventham as the evil vampire lady. If you're not familiar with her, she was one of the officers on the UFO show, which is where I remember seeing her. But she's probably more famously known now as Benedict Cumberbatch's mother. But the staging in this film is so bad. The fight scenes, the sword fighting, I mean, I'll tell you, I have seen better sword fighting at cosplay things at conventions. Nobody seemed to know where they were going with it. It doesn't seem like they rehearsed it or anything. This thing could have been if you said, let's make Errol Flynn a vampire hunter. You know, this charismatic guy with this silver steel blade that goes around and he vanquishes these vampires out of villages and towns and stuff like that. Could have been amazing. It really could have. But the director, you know, is primarily known as a screenwriter, um, didn't really know how to pace a film for one thing. Um, the cinematography is fine for what it is, but again, the staging is awful. Uh, the scene at the bar where Kronos kills those three guys that were put up there to aggravate him and kill him. You know, the way they stage that is just terrible. There's so many better ways to do that. I like the idea of a henchman, of having the hunchback guy who's his buddy, somebody to talk to, and evidently, at the end of it, he leaves Carolyn Monroe behind, even though they've been lovers and all that. So he can go on and have lovers in other movies and stuff like that. But it was just not meant to be. This movie also was sort of like the death knell for Hammer by 1974. They thought it would do better and it didn't. And that was pretty much the end of Hammer. They were on their way out at this point. Let's see, what else? What else? I'm trying to think of anything positive about it, but I think I covered the three things: the high concept, the Carolyn Monroe, and the Wanda Ventham is about all I can say. And the buddy aspect, but they should have played that up more. So we got to see it. People have been asking me to put this on the list for a long time. I had seen it once years ago, and of course remember reading about it in many of the monster magazines. But I remember thinking I didn't like it when I saw it a few years ago. But I thought, you know what, I'll give it another shot. But the same issues kept cropping up. The pacing of it. It's a cool idea for the vampire thing too. Instead of stealing blood and their life, they steal basically their life force, their youth. I thought that was a kind of a cool twist on the vampire thing. Made it very different. I think a different actor here would have been much better. If they made this back in the early 60s, a young Peter Cushing could have carried this off with a lot of panache that Horst could not. So, those are my thoughts there. Your mileage may vary. And let's check in with the gang and see who has stuff to say. Renosh 1323 says he has never heard of this movie. Man of War 665, as I mentioned, is here. He says hi. And he's been girding his loins for the Nolan review / massacre of our recommendation of a longtime fave. Well, I gave you both barrels, brother. However, he is prepared to rip off his shirt for a fight. Yes, what's not to like about this movie? Just good fun. Good fun can be paced better, too. Rob Fellows is here. He says, hail, fellow members of the Carolyn Monroe fan club, I'm guessing. Oh, yeah, who's not a fan of Carolyn Monroe? This is her first and only nude scene in a movie. She grew up as a strict Catholic, went to Catholic school. Didn't want to do it, but they were able to, use double-sided tape, keep her hair down, and keep her in shadows to cover any naughty bits. But she never did another one. Dr. Mask is here. JP Roca asks what's good. And JP Roca disagrees with me. He thought it was a good movie. Scar Gangster is here. He says, good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Mass says, sign up for Shanu 77. Yeah, it's called following now. So when you hit the link, you'll go over there and ask you to follow it, and you'll get a notification when it goes live, uh, exactly when it went live. I did that. I signed up for Billy's campaign, and at 7 o'clock, bam, it came right through to my email. So it's really cool, that aspect. Uh, Everything about the campaign has been approved, and I'm just raring at the bit there to get her launched. Right now, we're looking at Thursday. If I can't contain myself and launch it sooner, but Thursday right now is my target date. It won't be any later than Thursday, I can tell you that. So start following. On lonely nights, I shall think of you, says Captain Kronos, and I you, says the beautiful Carolyn Monroe. This is a very odd movie, but in a good way. Nice break from the usual revival of Drac. Drac bites people, Drac gets staked formula. Yeah, it could have been something really special. Dr. Mass also wonders why there wasn't a sequel to this movie, but we covered that. It bombed. Haha, for such great sword fighters, that final fight was weak. That was actually the better sword fight. When he was meeting all those guys on top of the hill, and he's got the two swords, and he goes like that and holds them out. That was absolutely ridiculous when they're all surrounding him, and he pulls out his two swords, and he just waits for them, the one guy to hit the two swords, and waits for another guy to do this. That was really, really bad. It's almost like a pilot for a TV series with a new vampire and babe each week. Yeah, it does feel like that. Past Master Dan reminds everybody, please, please hit that thumbs up button on my shows, and also subscribe to the channel so you'll get the messages when we're broadcasting, and I can also communicate with you too. Saucy quote, Carla, I'm staying if you'll have me, Cronus. Oh, I'll have you. Yeah, I remember that. That was funny. JP Roker voted for Lust, but Kronos was good. All right. Shoemad 1000. Hey, Graham and gang. This one, yikes. The plot sucks. I don't think the plot was that bad. You know, it's just how it was paced. You know, get to the action, get to have something happen. You know, you can't just be walking around countrysides digging up toads. You know, and shit's got to happen, and you have to start putting conflict on your protagonist. You know, he wasn't really faced with anything, except for those guys in the bar. The rest of the time, he's wandering around trying to figure out who the vampire is. There's no great stakes here, and there should be stakes in a vampire movie. The whole guy, the buddy, the doctor who got bit on the lip by the vampire, that was hard to follow. What was going on with him? They stab him, it doesn't kill him. They hang him, that doesn't kill him. But then the cross pierces his skin, and that kills him. What was that all about? For two supposed expert swordsmen, they did little to conjure up the memories of epic battles between Errol Flynn and Basil Rathbone. Oh, that's my point. Yeah, this could have been really cool if you had, had this lusty, heroic guy, laughing and drinking and going from. He loves his work, and he goes, he's going from town to town with his mighty silver sword and vanquishing, like Robin Hood or the Seahawk or something like that. He would have been so much more enjoyable. As a lifelong Robert E. Howard fan, this was the closest thing to a Solomon Kane live action we got until the 2009 self-titled movie, which was a rather mixed bag, if not an enjoyable popcorn flick. I didn't see that. Nico de Muser Pico, 77. What's with all the Hollywood royalty, by the way? All the nepotism. Oy vey. I don't know what we're talking about there, Nico. Leg Kick 1 is here. The original Wesley Snipes. Captain Kronos is a great concept. This is a movie they should remake. Yeah, I'd go for that. Again, take my ideas and implement them. It could be a good movie. Maybe the pacing didn't affect me because I was multitasking while watching. Yeah, that helps a lot with a slow film. You know, like when that Palin's Dracula was on, that was a slow one as well. It was right on par with this, where it just takes forever for stuff to happen. I knew in my gut you would end up hating it, but then again, you were also wrong about the keep. I am never wrong because they're opinions. Uh, didn't Hammer movies return later on? Yeah, they're still around. Actually, they started producing films again. They did. Was it? It was one with Daniel. Something about the witch, the white witch, the black witch. The guy who played Harry Potter. I think that was the first movie that they released under the new studio. Dr. Mass reminds you, if you like horror, check out the upcoming book, Edgar Allan Poe's Besprinkled with Scarlet. Do it. Do it now. Oh, yeah, Rob. Lady Durwood mentioned she was born a Karstein, the vampire family name from the Twins of Evil, the Vampire Lovers, and Lust for a Vampire. Yeah, exactly. I caught that too, and I meant to talk about that. You know, because Lust for a Vampire was one of the choices. I think it's also mentioned in the Vampire Circus too, if I'm not mistaken, which we did earlier in our 31 days. But yeah, that's like a running theme through these vampire movies, the Karstein family. So that was cool. That was cool that they tied that in. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Russell Hall. Release the naughty bits. I never stop anybody from disagreeing. To be honest, the majority of most of Monroe's costumes never left a hell of a lot to the imagination. Well, that's why we're talking about her, what, 60 years later. Dr. Mass wants to know, any issues with the new Indiegogo? I've heard some creators had some problems. Yeah, there were some issues, and it's mostly first time stuff. It's called onboarding, and so you have to have all your financials approved ahead of time, and you have to prove certain things. You have certain forms you have to present to them, and everything is different in the settings and how things are presented. Even terminology, like we used to call them perks, but they're now rewards. So there's quite a learning curve in setting everything up. But that being said, there's some really great changes in here, like for backers particularly. There's some safety measures for backers. And there's also the ability to pay off in installments on things. So like we're going to have an ultimate collector's box, which is like $250. Um, and you can pay it off in 4 installments, before May 1st. So you could get that, and it would just be, $60 a month or something like that for 4 months, or however that works out. So I think that's a really great idea, so people aren't, if they're tight on cash, they can really get what they want if it's a higher end thing. So I think that's a really great idea. And there's other things too. It seems very user friendly from the backer point of view. The setup is a little bit more difficult because we have a lot more stuff to learn. But by and large, I'm happy with it. We shall see. Haha, says the Man of War to Stippling about allowing to disagree. Well, he hasn't kicked me out for it up to this point. It's coming. Ironic that it dragged in places when Kronos means time in Greek. Right. Like a chronometer. Don't forget, no dancing on Sunday. Yeah, they put her in the stock because she danced on Sunday. Rob Fellows says there was a comic strip adaptation in Hammer Halls of Horror mag, which I have seen, and a kind of sequel. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. How was the artwork on that? Wasn't Van Helsing a Solomon Kane-like movie? If it was a really bad one. That movie. Oh my God. That movie is everything that's wrong with Hollywood storytelling. In defense of this movie, it is an early 70s movie, so it can be called it as a hippie era movie. Yeah, but the same year this was made in 1972, they made Dracula 1970 AD 1972. And that is the ultimate hippie Dracula movie, and it's awesome. Woman in Black, thank you. Thank you, Brent. Graham thought he was wrong once, but he was mistaken. Yeah, I corrected it. Wow, they're turning on me. Just inside. 30 Days of Night and Daybreakers are my favorite vamp films. I've never seen Daybreakers, but 30 Days of Night is one of those ones, as I said earlier, that I smack myself in the head for not thinking, you know, getting vampires to a place that it's dark for 30 days. Ugh, I could kick myself for that. Gangster says that is a great idea. I will buy higher tiers. Absolutely. And much appreciated all of your backing, Cigar Gangster. And no built-in tip. Yes, that was annoying as hell. Rob says, not sure about reprints. Internet Archive has some you can read. Search Hammer House of Horrors, Halls of Horror, and Castle of Horror. Decent art. Okay. We have my Monster Kid pal, Shanthan Jetty here. Hello, Shant. Graham, a little off topic, but did you see World War Z? If so, what did you think? I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Brad Pitt was great in it. Standard zombie fare, pretty much. Had some different twists in it. But, it was a solid film. I posted that today on X for my comic of the day. Number 1 has part 1. Oh, I saw that, Dr. Mask. Is that what it's in? Okay, cool. Marcus Kelligrew. Ha! I made it. Well, goodbye, Marcus. We're done. Actually, we are just about done. I think I've covered it. I've covered all the comments in here. And tomorrow we have one of the undisputed masterpieces of terror. And that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Exorcist are probably the 3 most seminal modern day horror films, or they changed the way that horror is produced. And so you can watch that on Netflix, guys. I watched it there. And it's on Peacock, I guess. Dr. Mass says. Oh, he also said Ian Gibson did the artwork for Kronos. I don't know that name. English artist, perhaps. It's on Pluto for free, too. Okay, excellent. If you have a subscription to Netflix or Peacock, you can watch it there without commercials. Rick says, I'm going to watch it at breakfast, so it has the whole day to wear off. I watched it this morning. Yeah, I got up early, like 5:30, something like that, and put it on before Julie would wake up because she couldn't handle it. And it was terrifying, but I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it for tomorrow. I gotta save it. So, all right, my friends. That's what we got on tap for tomorrow. And I hope you have a great Friday. And we will see you Saturday morning sometime. I'm going to say somewhere around maybe around 11 o'clock, unless something comes up. But again, subscribe so you get the notification, or look on my X page for when I post it. And we will catch you then. Till then, have a good one. Bye.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.